name is Jason JROCK Houston. You guys are listening to an interview being done for Riffs Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.riffs.com. It's my great pleasure to be speaking with lead singer Dustin Graboski from the band Arise and Chaos. How you doing tonight, Dustin?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm doing great. Now, of course, like I said, you're from the band Arise and Chaos, and one of the reasons I want to talk to you guys is I understand that you recently signed a record deal with EMP Label Group, which is David Ellefson's label. Can you tell us how you guys first got the deal?
It actually was all really unexpected. We had hooked up with the manager, Tom Hazard, and pretty much talked about getting into the studio and working with David, just to kind of actually, just get his name on the CD and try to help, shop for some labels and, see where it goes. And when we flew out to Arizona, it was in, I believe, August, we ended up really hitting it off, and David really ended up enjoying the music, and we got a great working relationship right away. It all just kind of fell into place really quickly, and it was great, man. So it was all really unexpected, but it's been great so far. So.
Hey, let me ask. When you guys had first brought him into your studio and first started working with him, had he had this label going, or did he kind of start the label kind of as an inspiration because of what you guys were doing?
I know when we were there, he was talking about it, and he was working with the band Dollskin.
Oh, okay.
At the time, and they had been talking about the label, and I don't know, it was a brand new thing for him at that time,
Yeah.
He was just kind of getting it off the ground, I think, and so I think it was just all really good timing,
Yeah.
Lines and all of a sudden recording with David of Megadeth, like.
Yeah. And I think what makes this, a really cool story, being that this is really a new label that's just getting pretty much launched, is again, it's not just a label formed by a guy in a suit. It's got a guy that's actually a musician himself behind the label, and which I think when he goes to work with bands like you, it's great because he actually has a working knowledge. He's been doing this long enough of what it takes to make it in the business. He's an actual musician, so he can kind of give you guys advice or come in and say, I've been here, I've done this, and I think that's just what makes this such a cool label to see it being launched.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. David once said, it's easier to make yourself known as a band these days, but to actually make money at it is another story.
Yeah. And so,
but he definitely knows.
And so, in regards to, how involved did he get with, working with the band? I mean, was he is he credited as an executive producer? Did he actually get there and produce stuff? Did he write with you guys?
He's got some producer credit on it for sure. When we went down there, we were recording vocal tracks, and he had a lot of good suggestions for, adding embellishments and even changing the rhythms of some parts around, adding things, and it was really great to work with. It was, like you say, he's a great musician, and he's been around for a long time. He's got a lot of really great ideas, and so we just really kind of hit it off creatively. And
I'm sure you guys are. I'm sure you got other guys in the band are Megadeth fans yourself, so it's got to be a great feeling. Wow! I got David Ellefson in the studio with me, a guy from Megadeth. But when you guys were actually in the studio and he was producing you, did he kind of he didn't try to change alter the band's sound too much? He kind of just let you guys go in and kind of do your thing and allow you to do what you wanted?
Yeah. Like I said, I think that he was just as surprised as we were, kind of. He ended up really legitimately really digging the songs as a whole. So all the suggestions and embellishments that he had were really great and from the same kind of creative place. We're all metalheads at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
we share a lot of similar tastes, it seemed like. So really, I think, dug the band's sound and just really helped bring it out just a little bit more, you know?
Wow. That's great. Now, let me ask you, Dustin, are you originally, because I know the band's from Denver, Colorado, is that where you're originally from, or did you come there later in life?
A lot of us are born and raised here. We got a couple members that are from Wyoming, but they've been here and living here for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Denver's home.
And as far as the music scene, do they have a pretty good, metal scene there?
Oh, Denver's, I think, really lucky. Very lucky. In Denver, you get really good opportunities with, promotion companies like Soda Jerk and, other people around town that have these big major acts coming through, like Fear Factory and Soulfly and all that remains. And being a local band in Denver, you get a lot of opportunities to play with these guys and open with these guys.
Yeah.
When you don't, I think that's a lot harder to do in other states, And here, even when it's not a national show coming through, still all the venues here where you would see all your favorite acts, more so than bars even in Denver, that's where all the local bands are playing.
Wow.
It's really kind of lucky and fortunate. Everybody in this town is really supportive of local music, and there's a lot of great bands, so.
Yeah, as far as the band,
cool.
as far as the band itself, I was curious. How long have you guys been around? Are you a fairly new band, or have you been around for a while now?
We've been through a lot. me and the drummer Jer, we got together probably around 2008.
Wow.
And our bass player Keith actually introduced us, and he was playing in another band. And I was just looking for a drummer, and he introduced us, and we've been playing ever since. But we've been through a lot of member changes since then, mostly guitar players, and really finding the lineup in a creative way and a good working way with everybody is, between 5 people, pretty difficult. So it took a long time to put together, and I think really our very first rehearsal as a full group was in 2010. And we put out our local EP at around, I think it was December 2012.
Wow.
And since 2012 and that release, we've been just, writing and rebuilding and finding the right people, and it's all really taken its time to come together where it's at now and making the Arising Chaos that it is now.
Yeah.
With Adam and Nick on guitar and all their embellishments and things. And so I'm glad that it took as long as it did.
Yeah. So let me ask you. You're mentioning that you and the drummer kind of have been like the 2 original members that are still going at it. What do you think has kept you and him, in the band? I mean, being that you guys are the 2 original members, you must kind of have a real tight chemistry.
Yeah, when we got together, I was originally playing guitar.
Oh, okay.
And I do a lot of the guitar writing and things for the band as well. And that's also, I think, why it's hard to keep guitar players around. Find that real good collaborative, like you're singing, you can lay off the guitar a little bit, but, I love it. And I think that's a big part of me and Jeremy's kind of chemistry with him and the drums is more so with the musical writing that we do, and less to really do with the vocals, but more with the guitar and drum aspect and rhythm section, on bass even. And that's where the big chunk of, I think, the root of the Arising Chaos, the sound is, that's what it is, and everything else is just made it this big explosive thing with this CD. So
yeah. I mean, that's kind of like the Megadeth story. I mean, for years, Mustaine was a lead player, and once he started Megadeth, he's kind of been playing rhythm, but he plays that rhythm guitar, very much like a lead player would, and then in addition to his guitar playing, he kind of accidentally, like you, he couldn't really find anybody to sing his song, so he kind of said, okay, I guess I'll be a singer too. And nobody knew that this guy, until Megadeth, nobody knew this guy could sing. And I mean, he's a triple threat as far as, singer, songwriter, and a guitar player. So you kind of got that going for you too. Now, you were mentioning that you started out yourself, Dustin, primarily as a guitar player. So when you bring these other guitar players in, does it kind of make it hard for you, being that you're a singer, probably one of the main songwriters, not to tell them how to play the guitar, or do you kind of let them now come in and do their thing?
It's a very trusting working relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that's why one of the reasons we've gone through so many members is, some people don't think that they can get their creative edge in enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of it's timing. When we brought in, our first major guitar players, me and Jared pretty much written the entire first EP we did.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's hard, to build from that. And like with this new album, and we all really tried to make it a point, and that's, I think, one of the reasons this came out so different and cool on this album is everybody. We really tried to push everybody's 2 cents in.
Now
there's a couple songs in the album that I almost have nothing to do with, and all the embellishments that these other guys did on all these songs is just, incredible. But yeah, sometimes it does get really hard to, guitar players are, really want to do their stuff and come out and shine, and everyone wants to have their creative edge, as always, and I think that it's important that everybody does.
Yeah.
And that's, this album's so new and fresh to us because we're still kind of building our sound.
Yeah. And now let me ask you, being that you're the front man and the guy that's the lead singer and then and probably the main songwriter in the band, as far as musicianship goes, when it comes to recording the songs, I was curious. Of course, you said like everybody wants to kind of have their input in that, but are you one of these guys where as much as you want to have a flashy guitar solo, it has to be more about what fits each song. If the guy's going to go off, and have a flashy solo, it's got to be part of what fits the song as opposed to just showing off. If you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and like I said, finding the right people is a long journey. For all bands, and getting people together is really one of the most important parts, and meeting on a creative level in that way. I don't think that I would ever bring in a guitar player that kind of had that mentality. If they were being all flashy, that would, it's the creative aspect in all these players, and the band as it is now is really, really gold.
Yeah.
For us.
And let me ask you, when the band first got formed, did you form the band with guys that you'd already, known previously, or when you formed a band, did you just like hold a cattle call of auditions and you kind of met these guys that way?
It was kind of all of the above. It depends on who we're talking about.
Okay, I hear you.
Our first guitar player who he does a guest solo on this new CD. Even Ryan, he worked with my drummer at a restaurant hotel.
Wow.
And when he came in, it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. He came in and we had a few rough recordings online long time ago.
Yeah.
And he came in, I can play all the songs. And I'm like, no way. and then he came in and really he could play all the songs already by ear. So you're hired. And a lot of the people since then have been friends of his.
Wow.
So that it just kind of started a chain,
How cool is that? Now, I got to tell you, before your publicist sent me a little press release about you guys to check out, and before I even heard a lick of your music, I'm reading the press release, and I come to the name A Rising Chaos, and just the name alone is kind of one of the things that really stood out to me about you guys before I even heard a lick of your music, I got to say. And it's kind of a simple but cool sounding name, and being that you're one of the original guys, I got to ask, how did you guys come up with such a cool name?
Man, around, that's the hardest part. Finding the people and finding the name. It's impossible. And the most impossible thing about finding a name is they're all taken.
Yeah.
They're all being used somewhere. Me and I believe it was our original guitar player, Cameron, long time ago. We were kicking around, I think, some names. I don't remember exactly what name started it.
Yeah.
Probably Arise in something, or Arise in, Darkness. Or,
whatever,
whatever it was. And Rising Chaos was just one of the things that had come up, and as we're going through these, I'm Google searching everything.
Yeah.
Like, which one's not taken? Because you find a name that sounds good and that's not taken, you're good, right?
Yeah.
So, Rising Chaos at the time, it was only, I think there was one band in Germany or something that had the name but hadn't done anything in years.
Yeah. And now, and I got to ask you, in regards to your new album, I guess it's called Terminal Cognition. I understand it comes out Friday, May the 13th. Now, did you guys pick that Friday the 13th release day just because you thought it'd be a cool thing to release your album on Friday the 13th, or did it just kind of fall on that date?
Well, a little bit of both, actually. With the label and it being so new, and us coming out. Originally, we were talking about doing a short EP, 5 songs or so. And in the process of finishing that, we thought, well, it's so close, let's just go for the full length.
Yeah.
So, with everything being so new and coming out and the label, it's just...
Well, I got to say, smart move on your part, because, I'm an old school guy, but I still love to hold like a CD in my hand, and read the liner notes and look at the artwork and all that. And I know a lot of bands, like you say, they put out like 4 or 5 song EPs, they release it, digitally, and that's the way to do it these days. But I think like I'd much rather have a full length album, because to me, we got 10, 11 new songs here from this great new band. That's a lot better than because I think if I'm getting only 5 tunes, I'm like. Especially if I'm really getting into the band and you guys are, a new band and this and that, I'm thinking, these 5 tunes are, they're great, but man, I want more. So I think it's really smart move on your guys' part to do a full length, at this point in the game.
Yeah, and that's kind of what got kicked around, and in doing that, the date got moved from this to that to the other thing, and we just thought, hey, Friday the 13th.
Yeah, just so metal, and again,
why not?
and again, I just love the name of the band. It's kind of simple, like you said, but it's really, I gotta say, just in something as simple as reading your press release, it's one of the things that really stood out even before I heard a lick of the music. And
cool, man, thank you.
Yeah, and now as far as recording the album, like you said, you guys have been through several lines, so I was curious, are these all the tunes on this album, were they? Is it like older material that's been laying around but didn't get recorded on the last album, or is it all freshly written material just for this release?
Well, there's 2 songs that are slightly reworked from the first album.
Okay.
And totally re-recorded that are on this new one. And other than that, it's all fresh material. Some of which we've been sitting on for a while.
Yeah.
Some of which, one song, 1 week before we jumped into the studio really fast, just wrote it, put it together, done, all good. There's a quick one in there. So, a little bit of both.
And as far as the few things that you guys have posted online, what has been the response that you've been getting so far?
Really good, actually. People, when you start really putting things out there, people always, everybody's a critic.
Oh, yeah.
And, I love reading everybody's comments, good or bad, on everything. And I really haven't seen very many bad comments, and all the bad ones have just been, people's ideas on critique. They still, really dig it. So, I think it's a good original flavor that hasn't been around
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In a little bit, you know. So
yeah,
I'm interested to see, you know, how much farther it goes for sure.
Yeah, I mean, one cool,
so far.
One cool aspect to me about the internet is, okay, here I'm talking to a guy that's in a band in Denver, Colorado, and and people are hearing hearing the stuff that you guys have posted so far. Somebody might be listening to right now, in Japan or Mexico or even all the way across the world, Russia, places you guys have yet to even perform, or a record hasn't, a new album hasn't even been released yet, and somebody's on the other side of the world checking out your music, places that you haven't even toured. That's got to be a pretty great feeling.
Oh, it's amazing. We were just getting emails from people releasing things out in the UK right now, and just having the music spread like that is really amazing. I mean, and the more people that can take something from our music and just enjoy it, that's really what it's about.
And this may sound like a silly question, but are you at all feeling a bit like a rock star in the sense that, again, you must have moments where you feel like, hey, I'm just a guy from Denver, Colorado, and then it must feel kind of weird, rewarding at the same time. Like you said, you have people actually emailing you personally, asking you questions about your band, or hey, I think your band is great, and you're like, wow, this person's writing to me.
It's really surreal. I think that realistically, as a band, since we went into the studio with David in Arizona in August last year, it has been just go, work, nonstop.
Yeah.
I don't think that any of us have really had a moment to sit and collect what's going on.
Yeah.
Really process the information. And it's really surreal, man. It's cool.
And so when you guys were
all the people that worked with us on the album, it's amazing,
So when you guys were down in Arizona recording with him, so I imagine that you guys kind of recorded like kind of old school way where the whole band was in a room together recording, or did you guys record your parts separately, like as a modern way of doing things?
We kind of did it a little more modern. When we went to Arizona, it was really concentrated around vocals.
Oh, okay.
Which was scary for me a little bit, just go sing and sort of scream and stuff. David Ellefson, Megadeth, that's great. But we tracked a lot of all the guitar and the bass, and we had rough tracks when we went down there, and we re-recorded things since then. We tracked the vocals here in Denver with Aru Luster from El Nino, and had it mixed and mastered in Lake Michigan at Dreadcore Productions with Joshua Wickman. He works with bands like Within the Ruins and stuff, and he made the mix sound amazing. And getting David Ellefson's musical ideas and feedback, as well as Aru Luster, who had some vocal production ideas later too, was just really humbling and amazing. To work with all these musicians that are great.
That's got to be. Now, as far as the songwriting goes, being that you're a singer / guitar player, do you typically write like where the music comes first, or do you typically start with the lyrics or a guitar riff? What's your method usually?
For us, it always starts with the music.
Okay.
I had all the songs for this album tracked except for one, which is the one that I had not yet even written the lyrics to. So much later. So for me, vocally, we really put the music together with music, with vocals in mind, but no set parts written. Just making sure that there's room for them, but really just concentrating on the guitar and the drums. And then placing the vocals over the top of it later sometimes causes changes. Musically, makes it longer or shorter.
And
sometimes not.
And as far as writing your lyrics, typically, like are your lyrics inspired like by the music, that preceded it, or do you ever like maybe get inspired by something like you read in the newspaper or something you experienced in life, and you kind of write about something that you went through? What's easier for you, like just being inspired by the music, or sitting down and actually writing a story about something that you experienced?
I like to, I like to create a character.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes, with this character, really just try to feel out the song, and just kind of see where it takes me.
Okay.
Musically.
Yeah.
Just try to get lost in it and see where it goes, and see what kind of character you're dealing with. What's going on, what's happening to this character.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
And try to put not too specific story to it. So everyone can have their little interpretations of what's going on. Or there's the single that's out right now with the video of The Divine is totally. I was watching all the Hellraiser movies, and I had to write a song about Hellraiser.
Wow.
And I thought that song really fit it. And there's even a quote from the first movie in there. And we have such sights to show you. So I thought that was a really cool idea. But
yeah, talk about what Hellraiser for a minute. I mean, what a great piece of inspiration, so to speak. But and as you say, creating a character, that leads me to my next question. Now, being that you're one of the original guys, the frontman, the lead singer, the voice, if you will, the frontman of a band, being that you're one of the original guys, when it comes to creating new music and stuff, do you kind of have do you have a feeling like, okay, this is you have a vision of what you want Arise and Chaos to sound like? Is it hard for you to ever go outside of that box, if you know what I mean?
I think that I'm always wanting to go outside of that box if it's in a direction that you like. But because I feel like that box of that Arise and Chaos sound is me and Jer, and then bringing all these other guys in, and like Adam, she does all the leads on this album, except for one, I think, and it just ended up working out that way, that all the leads Adam was doing, and then all the solos Nick was doing, and for both of them, those parts and embellishments made the songs and ideas that we had to start with just more than we could imagine. And the songs that they wrote themselves fit right in with everything me and Jer were doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting we keep bringing up Megadeth. But they recently put out a great new album. To me, it's some of the best stuff they've done, like since Countdown to Extinction or Rust in Peace. And the thing is, you put on any two Megadeth albums, it's going to sound Megadeth because Dave Mustaine's been there like since day one, as we say, and he's a guy behind the band. But like you said, you get other players in the band; they kind of bring their influence in it, and it's kind of interesting because whether we're talking about Alice Cooper, Kiss, or Megadeth, anytime any of those, an established band like tries to do something a little different, a lot of times fans get turned off by, oh, that doesn't sound like Kiss, that doesn't sound like Alice Cooper or Megadeth, and it must be hard as the voice behind the band. You must, like you said, want to kind of go outside the box from time to time, but you also got that desire to kind of stay true to the band's sound.
And I think as long as me and Jeremy are collaborating within everybody else collaborating, I think that'll be impossible to lose. And the original stylings of his drumming, and now I feel like the Rising Chaos sound is greatly reliant on Adam and Nick's guitar ideas as well. I feel like we're just now finding our box we're comfortable with. And the next album, it'll be really interesting to see what we come up with.
And now let me ask you, for people that have never heard Arise and Chaos, how would you describe your sound? Would you label your guys as metal, thrash? How would you describe the sound of a band?
I would say it's straight up metal. There's a little thrash influence, but there's a little almost Tool-esque influence, you could say. You know, there's a lot of different influences, and you know, all the people in this band really like a lot of different styles of metal.
Yeah.
You know, so that all coming together. It's very old school, almost 90s metal with a really new edge, you know.
Oh, cool. And now, as far as influences, your personal influences, who are the guys that inspired you when you were growing up to do what you're doing now?
Oh, me. You know, I think that I was really kind of living myself in this whole label signing deal with David, because I used to go to Megadeth shows with old CDs and bands of mine and just try to throw them on David's side of the stage so he would see it. You know, now this has all been incredible, but you know, Megadeth for sure. You know, always is one of the first metal bands I ever got into.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and for me, I'm very stuck in the older, in the 90s.
Yeah.
System of a Down is a huge thing for me right now. Fear Factory.
Wow.
Is a huge, you know, for years, a couple of years now, I've been really heavy into Fear Factory.
And I got to ask, I was reading that you guys at one point had done some touring with Death Angel. What was that like for you?
Death Angel came through town with Cavalera Conspiracy and at the Summit Music Hall here in Denver, and we played with them then, and it was amazing, man. Death Angel is one of the most incredible, tightest bands I've ever seen live.
Yeah, I mean, I just got to say, they're as talented as they are, I think they're very underrated. They don't really get the recognition they should. Yeah.
The singer just blew my mind. You know? He was nailed everything. You know, he seemed flawless up there. You know, amazing. Very seasoned. You know.
Yeah. And I got to share with you, Dustin. Talking about any band, I'm really a song. I love talking about the songwriting because I think, you know, you can have a band with if it's full of, you know, like great looking guys, but if you don't have the songs and, you know, the songs, you know, aren't going to really get people's attention, you're not going to go too far. Now, you're talking earlier about that you kind of you get inspired by different ways, but now you for example, you said you wrote a song about you're inspired by the Hellraiser films. Now, let's say somebody heard that song. Do you kind of get a little kick out of maybe somebody coming up to you and telling you, "Oh, hey man, I heard your song. I heard your song, and and it kind of really reminded me of something I went through." And you kind of think, "Wow, I didn't even write the song about that, but they got a totally different twist on the song."
You know, and that's one reason I try not to make things too absolute or specific in any of the lyrics, you know, and kind of less words, more feeling, if possible, you know, so people can really just make it into what they want. And you know, I think that is really cool to hear when people got different ideas, and it's exciting. It gives me ideas.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, you know, write one about that, and you'll make it something else.
And again, as a guy writing the song, it's got to be, like you said, a great feeling. On one hand, you wrote the song specifically about a totally different topic, but then somebody listens to your song, and maybe based on on their own life experience, they get something else out of it, and you got to think, wow, I never thought I'd touch somebody like that with one of my songs, and it's just got to be an amazing feeling. Now, one of the last things I want to ask you before I let you go, you mentioned that you'd done a video for your single, The Divine. Could you tell us a little bit about the video? I mean, did it take you guys very long to shoot, or what was that like as far as shooting the video?
It was really cool. Our bass player, Keith, came from a band here in town. Their drummer was our drummer's brother. So, we're all very close. And their singer, Wasey John, has been working on this film company and trying to get his, legs out there.
Wow.
And doing all these things, and he's a great musician and singer too, and so, it was kind of the same luck we had with, EMP label group. That was just starting up. It gave us an opportunity. It's all fresh and exciting. Same thing with this video. I mean, we shot most of it in our rehearsal spot. And you know, in this realm, you know, in between, and came up with the lighting scheme and putting it all. I mean, it was pretty much in his hands, and Film Baser, is the name of his company. But they did amazing with the video. It only took, I think, 1 day of solid shooting, and then that was it, man. And then, you know, it's amazing.
And as far as the video itself, did you guys have a lot of extra footage that you didn't use? You know, it kind of got left on the cutting room floor. And the reason I asked,
you know, he did just for fun, and because it's the Hellraiser theme, you know, he did a rated R version of the video.
Oh wow!
That's not released yet, and we're probably going to release that exclusively later here in a little while, because we have to. It's a Hellraiser video. You got to put the rated R out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really cool.
And then I'm looking at the album, you know, the cover art. Could you tell us a little bit about that? I mean, that kind of looks a little Hellraiser kind of inspired on me.
Yeah, you know, the artist that we use all the time, Sam Sharon, Mr. Sam, he's out in LA, and he does, you know, a lot of work, you know, American Head Charge and Godhead and stuff like that. And we found him a long time ago. He actually did the art for our first local EP back in 2012. And, you know, he's one of those guys, you just give him an idea, and
he'll go with it.
For us, anyways, everything he comes up with is so perfect for what we want. You know, so that was kind of me and Sam, you know, and the rest of the band throwing ideas back and forth. And that's what we kind of came up with, is, you know, terminal cognition, you know, being kind of connected.
Yeah.
Via these circuits.
Cool.
Going crazy. You know?
Yeah, just really awe-inspired, the album cover I'm talking about here, as well as the music itself. Now, touring-wise, have you guys got anything set in motion, or does it kind of depend on how the album starts to sell once it's released?
Nothing's set right now. We're in the talks for a lot of different stuff, a couple festivals. Right now, we're pretty excited. You know, we obviously got the CD release here in Denver at the Summit Music Hall on May 13th, Friday the 13th. But then in June 6th, 6/6 of 16, we're going to be down. Yeah, we're going to be down at the Whiskey Go Go in LA.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, what are you guys doing on 6/6?
Yeah.
LA.
There we go.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really going to be cool, because it's going to have CD release with We Are the Riot, and that's Mikey and Meeks from Coal Chamber.
Oh wow.
And Heaven Below is playing, and that's Patrick Kennison from Union Underground.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, it's going to be really cool, man. It's going to be a good one.
And you know, once again, I want to ask about the songwriting. Is all the songwriting you guys just the guys in the band, or do you have any outside writers on the album?
It's all the guys in the band, and you know, our guitar player Ryan.
Wow.
Did a little bit of the writing on this album before he took off. But yeah, so it's mostly everybody, you know, and then especially vocally, the little detailed ideas and, you know, alterations and changes that, you know, David Ellefson and Aru Luster did.
Wow. And so, you know,
really helped plan it out.
Yeah, as far as the recording goes, I know that, you know, when you guys are recording the stuff, you know, it starts off as, you know, bits and pieces, and you kind of, you know, piece everything together. Like we were saying, that's kind of a modern way that stuff gets recorded these days. But when you have that final product in your hand, and, you know, you have a final version, you know, after this was all recorded and put together, that must have been an amazing, you know, feeling to accomplish. Wow, that's what, you know, that's the end product.
Yeah, you know, I mean, just, you know, and all the advice that we got from all these guys along the way, even with tracking, you know, and the recording process, you know, it was a big learning step for us.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, even before we sent it out to get mixed and mastered by, you know, Joshua at Dreadcore, we were like, wow, this is going to sound really good. And then when we got it back from him, it was just unbelievable, you know. He really made it just come
Yeah.
You nitpick forever until the end of time. You know, every little detail. But, you know, everyone's so happy with the way it turned out. Just the songs themselves. And it's, yeah, I can't stop listening to it yet.
Yeah,
that's a good sign.
I think that's a good sign. And the very last thing I wanted to ask you is, I see that you guys have you know, done shows with a number of national acts. Have you had much of a chance for a band to play outside of, you know, your local area of Denver, or even, you know, the United States? Have you guys played other countries yet?
Not yet, man, but we're
hoping
really,
to.
really pushing for it.
Yeah.
Forward to it. Trying to get out there.
Yeah.
Keys and, you know, everywhere we can spread it, you know, get it around.
Yeah.
Really just looking forward to it.
Well, yeah, hopefully with the new label and, you know, a guy like Ellefson behind you guys, hopefully you get a little more, you know, at least out there for people to find out about the band. So I just wanted to thank you, Dustin, so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I'm going to do my best to get out to that LA show on the 16th of June, I believe you said it was, and check you guys out. And so you know, once I have a chance to hear the full album, maybe we can do this again down the line, a couple of months down the line, and you could tell us more about what you guys have been through since the album's been released.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, and I'll be sure to let your publicist know once the interview's getting ready to get posted, and you can check it out, and you're able to tell all your friends about it. But thanks so much, and please keep in touch, Dustin. Anytime you want to do this again, I'll be more than happy to talk to you.
Cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Okay, take care, my friend. Bye-bye.